hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lauren and I make videos on journals, planners, and stationery and all of those things. If you are interested in seeing more, please feel free to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. So today I wanted to go over pretty much everything that I have used in my analog system for the month of July. So I've mainly been in these three books here. I have my Traveler's Notebook Captain's Log or Interstitial Journaling book. I have my Midori Codex, which I'm using as my memory keeping book. And I have my personal rings binder here, which I am using as a daily logbook. So I will start with my Midori Codex. So I feel like I should explain how I'm using this book a little bit to start out with. So this is the blank version of the Midori Codex, and I believe there are about 365 or 366 pages in here or so. So there is technically one page for every day of the year, which is nice. But yeah, it's really just a blank book with MD cream paper. And after a lot of trial and error, I have decided to use this as my main memory keeping book. So how I have been using it, since these pages don't have any lines or structure on them, is I have been adding my own structure to it with these templates that I made here. So this one here in particular is basically modeled after the Hobonichi Cousin daily page, which is a layout that I really enjoy. And what I do is I place the page behind the page that I'm going to be working on, and then I can see the structure of the page as well as the grid lines to help me write in a straight line on this page here. And I'm not sure how much the camera is picking that up. It definitely works better if I am working in a well-lit area, which I feel like I should probably be doing for my eyes anyway. But yeah, you can see the structure of the page as well as the grid lines behind the paper here. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. I also made some other template designs that I have been trying out as well. And it's been fun because I'm not necessarily committed to any one layout or style. Like I can try all of these different layouts without needing to commit to only one of them for the entirety of the book. So this is my monthly page that I have for the month of July. And this is my second month doing it like this. But what I have here is a smaller calendar where I have some very teeny tiny doodles on some of the days to indicate when something happened and just kind of jog my memory for what happened throughout the month and when it happened. And then I also have a collection of photos throughout the month as well as a few bits of ephemera. And yeah, that's really it. Personally, I do really appreciate having a smaller calendar and then more space around that for photos and just general reflecting on the month as a whole. Like I said, this is my second month doing it in this particular style. I pretty much did the exact same thing in June, where I had the smaller calendar and then photos and writing to kind of summarize the month as a whole. And then I have been using this page here as a template guide for my monthly page. And as you can see, I have the box set up here for the calendar. And then I have space on the side for photos, and yeah, I kind of just fill in the rest from there. So that is my monthly spread. And then I only had one day this entire month where I tried to do a week on one page. And that is because I found pretty quickly that I don't really like journaling this way. I just feel like it's a little bit redundant for whatever reason. And I don't really like repeating myself that much when I journal. And I don't know, I just didn't really feel like I got good value out of having this page here. So as you can see, I didn't actually finish. There's a few spots at the bottom here that I didn't quite fill out, but it was fun to try out and see how I felt about it. Other than that, a lot of these pages in here, I have been using the Hobonichi Cousin daily layout spread kind of thing. This one here is definitely the Hobonichi Cousin layout. And I also made these date stickers for myself. I basically just made a bunch of these and printed them out all on like one large letter size sheet, cut them out all at once, and then I just stick them in here when I'm ready to do my journaling, just to kind of help highlight what day it is. And then let me show you, I just keep them in this little tin here. And then I still have the month of August left to go of my pre-cut out date stickers that I made. but yeah, it just goes till the 20th, and then I can change up the design again if I want to. Then I also decided to try a layout similar to the Take a Note planner, I guess, where they have the 2 columns per page and they have the 2 days on the 1 page. And I also didn't really enjoy this as much as I thought I would. Just kind of felt a bit squished in here, maybe. I may try it again at some point, but I didn't immediately love it. But this is the template here that I tried out with that. And then I pretty much went right back to the Hobonichi Cousin daily page layout. And I'm mostly just sticking in printables and little bits of ephemera here and there that I feel like relate to my day. And then when I first started this month here, I was really trying to be in this book on a daily basis. I think I felt a little bit of pressure because I had printed out the date stickers and I felt like I needed to use them. So I felt like I needed to be in here every single day, but eventually I kind of relaxed on that a little bit and honestly just got a little bit too busy to be in here every single day. But again, since it's a blank, undated book, I had the freedom to do that without really leaving any blank pages behind, so that was kind of nice. There are also a lot of pages in here that aren't particularly following any specific template that I have, and a lot of that is because I had a bunch of photos that I took and I mostly just wanted to make sure that I saved all of them. So I feel like there's less text and thus less of a structured format on the page, if that makes any sense. As a side note, I do really feel like I have a good system for printing out photos at the moment. Let me show you how that's been going really quick. So I made myself what I've been calling a photo tracker. It's just this little sheet of paper here that helps me keep track of how many photos I've taken and when I will be ready to batch print all of those photos out. So I print all of my photos on one large letter size sheet of sticker paper all at once and cut them out all at once and yeah, and just do everything all together like that. But if I'm not keeping track of how many photos I have already taken so far, then it's hard for me to know when I'm ready to do a printout of everything. So that's pretty much what this page is here. And then along with this, I have a template that I use on my computer to help size things correctly. And I also have this little cutout here that helps me kind of leave space for where I want the photo to go in my journal. Basically just take it out and then trace around it, and that will show me, you know, where to leave space on the spread for my photo. I also feel like it sort of encourages me to take more photos because when I get to that last bit, when there's only a few photos left before I can print off a sheet, I feel a little extra encouragement and motivation to take those last few photos so I can print off the whole sheet. And yeah, I've been doing this for a few rounds already and I really like it so far, but that's how I've been taking my photos lately. And then sometimes, but not always, I do a box at the top of the page or even at the bottom of the page where I do a brief summary of, I guess, just highlights for the day. Sometimes I put the temperature in there and just a few bullet points about what happened in the day. And I really like it. It helps me get a quick summary of the day without necessarily having to read all of the text and everything else. But sometimes I forget to do it still, but I do like it when I have it there. I've also been taking a lot more photos of flowers, and I really like including these in my journal. And like I mentioned before, some of these pages don't really follow any specific structure at all. Like this was for my birthday, which was in the month of July, and I just wanted to save all of the little bits of ephemera that I got from the day and place it around on the spread. So I just have some bits of packaging and photos. I got a bunch of stickers for my birthday, so because we went to Daiso and I put some of the stickers down. But yeah, that's pretty much what this is. And then since I'm not necessarily limited to doing one day per page or anything like that, and I had a lot more photos from my birthday, I actually just decided to let this one day take up an additional spread. And yeah, I just let it keep going. I've also been trying to save a lot more ephemera recently. Like I've been collecting my tea bags and any tea that I've tried, and I've been sticking that down in here. I've also been using a lot of printables. I have some printables here from Re Artworks and Erin Ware, and this is from Susanna V. Bryant of Susie's Tiny Desk. I also still really like trying to add tiny doodles embedded in the text because it helps me remember what I'm actually talking about, and because I don't usually reread the text that I wrote. Sometimes I do, but it's very rare. But if I just look back and see the tiny doodles, I can kind of remember what I was talking about and remember what happened on the day. And yeah, a tiny doodle seems like a low pressure way to give myself kind of like a visual reminder of what happened in the day. And yeah, I'm just sticking in a whole bunch of ephemera and packaging. And anything that I really find or use throughout the day, I'm just kind of sticking it down. I'm really happy with how the paper is holding up as well, I think, with that. It's nice because the MD cream paper is definitely a little bit thicker than the Tomoe River. So yeah, I feel like it works pretty well. I actually really like how this page turned out. This fork here is from a Trader Joe's grocery bag, and then I drew the tiny tomatoes and the pear running down the fork. We did a grocery run on this day, and other than that, I just did a bit of doodling, and I used some of my watercolors, and yeah, I think this might actually be one of my favorite pages that I've done this month. I also have more bits of ephemera that I've been trying to stick down, so I have a receipt here. I have a barcode. This is from a can of green chilies that I used to make dinner. I have some packaging from the scotch tape that I used to help set up my air conditioning unit this day, which is always a hassle. But yeah, I've just been sticking in little bits of ephemera. This is from a can of sardines that I ate, and yeah, that's pretty much everything that I have here. I've also just been sticking in anything that I happen to work on for the day. So I drew this moon moth illustration for my rings binder, and I decided to make a copy and stick it in here as well. And yeah, once again, still doing the Hobonichi cousin spread style for honestly most of these. I thought it was going to be really exciting to try all of these different layouts and all of these, different types of journaling spreads. But as it turns out, I mostly just gravitate to the Hobonichi cousin daily layout spread. It seems to be my comfort zone, and I have been mostly using that. Once again, sticking down things as I work on them. Here's another drawing that I did that I worked on, and I stuck it down in here. I also made some tabs for my rings binder, so I stuck a cutout from that down here. I feel like the more that I look back at my old journaling spreads, the more I'm realizing how much doodles in particular help to jog my memory. So I think I want to start incorporating more of those into my journal spreads. This little doodle here is about the pasta that I made for the day, which was awful. It had no flavor at all, none to speak of. Like, the sauce was super watered down and the noodles had no flavor. It was flavorless. Anyway, I fixed it on another day because we had leftovers, and I basically just fixed it by adding a ton of cheese and garlic and cayenne and oregano. But I drew a little doodle to illustrate that. I also really enjoy writing in different ways on the book. Like, I like turning the book and writing sideways sometimes, and I feel like that adds some extra interest to the page. I have also started doing this thing where sometimes I will write sideways along a larger block of text, and I'll write a brief summary of what the text is about to kind of help jog my memory a little bit more, because once again, I do not often reread the actual block of text that I wrote. Like, I don't usually read that back, but if I have a little summary written sideways here, then I will read that and kind of get an idea of what I was talking about at least. And yeah, I definitely have some more image heavy days. There were quite a few days this month where something was happening. I went out with family or we did something and I took a lot of photos, and I just wanted a place to kind of stick all of those down. But yeah, I have quite a few pages like this. I haven't been using quite as many art supplies in here as I would like. So I'd like to try and do that on occasion as well in here. But I have been doing a little bit of watercolor here and there, and also some colored pencils with it, but that's something that I'd like to explore a little bit more as I continue to use this book. And yeah, that's pretty much how this month has been going in here. I am ready to set up August at this point. I'm really enjoying this book so far. I really like that it is very flexible. I don't necessarily have to follow some sort of rigid structure. If I get bored and decide I want to change things up, I can do that. If I decide something isn't really working for me anymore, I can change it. But I also have the option to provide myself with some sort of structure by using the templates that I've been making. So yeah, it feels like a very good combination of both flexibility and structure. And I honestly think this might be, and I don't want to jinx myself or anything, but this might actually be my perfect journaling space for memory keeping. And I've been really happy in here so far. I finally added tabs to the side. They're just little post-it notes, and I just wrote the months on them. I may make them look nicer in the future. I may make some nicer looking tabs at some point. But for now, I can at least navigate this book a little bit better. But yeah, that's really all I have for my codex. I'm very excited to move into August and keep exploring new ways to use this book. I have also been in my personal rings binder for the month of July, and I've really been enjoying this as well. So I have a few different ways that I'm using this book at the moment. I have a few trackers in here, as well as a daily log and a monthly overview. The monthly page is really pretty simple, and it's just a general overview of the month and what happened during the month. And I know this may look a little bit similar to what I'm doing in my codex monthly spread, but this one is just more focused on like the projects that I was working on and the projects that I actually completed during the month. So I am using these Stalogy dot stickers to mark when I release content. So when I do an Instagram post or release a video, and I'm marking those down with these different colored dot stickers. I also highlight when certain events happen so that I know that, you know, it wasn't a normal day. It was a day that something out of the ordinary happened, like a holiday or some kind of event. And yeah, just to like kind of highlight those so I can see where those were and when they happened throughout the month. Other than that, I have a few photos from the month at the bottom here, just so I can kind of help to jog my memory about what happened in the month. And although memory keeping isn't really the main point of this book, I still find it helpful to have those kinds of memory aid things in here because it helps put things and like everything else that I'm doing in this month into context, if that makes any sense. Which I think is important for me because it helps me to understand like how much I had going on and how much energy maybe I had to devote to different things, stuff like that. So I just like that it gives me context and kind of puts things in perspective. So that's my monthly spread, and I already have August printed out as well, and that's ready to go for next month. And then I have also regularly been using my weekly spread here, and how I've been using this hasn't really changed all that much. I've basically been doing the exact same format maybe since March of this year, I think is probably when I started doing it. And I've done it in a few different books at this point, but I like it so much that I pretty much kept it the same in my personal rings book as well. So what it is on one side here I have brief bullet points about what I did for the day, and then on the other side here I have a small summary about how I felt about the day. And then in addition to that, I have some check marks on the side here. One which indicates whether or not I did my morning routine, and the other one indicates whether or not I practiced art for the day. And then as I kept using this layout, I also started putting like almost a title for the day or something, just a few words that I can look at and know exactly what happened on that day when I look back and when I flip through here. I also started to hole punch some things and add them in here as well. This is my first time starting to do that, and I've really been enjoying it so far. This next one here, for example, was my birthday week, and once again I had a lot of different packaging and ephemera bits to stick in. So since I had extra and they didn't really fit in my codex, I decided to put some of those in here instead. So I have this here is just a tag from a shirt that I got for my birthday. I have some photos from my birthday. I have a sticker backing sheet that I got for my birthday and I put in here. This is from the candles on my cupcakes for my birthday. And yeah, so that's what this is. And I didn't really anticipate this book being a space for memory keeping. That wasn't really like the main function of it when I started it. But like I mentioned before, I feel like having those bits of memory in here as well helps put things into context. It helps me remember what was happening that week. and oftentimes a photo or a bit of ephemera can do that more effectively than a bit of text or writing that I may have from that day as well. So that's why I've been adding more and more ephemera and photos to this space. I also started trying to add a small doodle to the side instead of just text to summarize the day. And once again, just providing more visual aid for myself as I look back and flip through the pages. But yeah, I'm just collecting little bits of ephemera and photos and printables and things, and kind of just sticking them in as I go, in addition to my summary kind of like daily logging. More bits of ephemera. This is the tea that I got that day. We went to Seattle and I have the ticket, the light rail ticket that we took. Yeah, just little bits of ephemera here and there, as well as my daily log and my summary of how I felt. And that's pretty much all I have to show from my personal rings for now. I definitely want to do a full video on my personal ring system when I feel a bit more adjusted in here. There's some more things in here that I am adding to it, but I think if I were to go over all of that for this video, it would just be way too long. So I'll probably talk about this in a separate video. Other than that, I'm still really enjoying my captain's log, is what I've been calling it. I think interstitial journaling is another phrase that can be used to describe it, but it's basically just any time that I have a brief moment throughout the day and I have something I want to write down, whether that be an idea or something that happened or just how I'm feeling. I just pull out my book and I write it down, and yep, that's it. It's not that complicated. I have recently added a pencil pouch to the front here. I got this Miffy pencil pouch for my birthday, and it actually fits pretty well in here, I feel like. It's a bit chunky, but I don't really mind. And I like that I have all of my pens and things available in here. I also have some sticky notes. Occasionally I like tab pages that I think I want to come back to and review something later on, so I've been using this for that. And yep, just some different colored pens, and that's about it. And then the actual book that I've been using in here is my Hobonichi Cousin that I was having a hard time with this year due to the paper issues that I was having. So I decided that rather than buying something new, I should try to repurpose the thing that I was not using so that I could get some use out of it still. So I ended up cutting off the months at the front, the weeks at the front, and the few entries that I had already done in there. So I cut those off, and then I also cut it down to size to fit in my traveler's notebook. And yeah, I've really been enjoying using it just like this. I am really not precious with this space at all, and honestly, I think I have really been enjoying it as a result. I do not put any pressure on the page looking nice or arranging things. It's truly just a messy, scribbly notebook that comes with me pretty much everywhere. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun in here actually. I'm also not very particular with what I stick in here. I stick most of my tea bags in here. There's a lot of receipts in here. If I worked on something for the day, I stick that in here. Yeah, pretty much anything. I am also sticking photos in here. If I have extra photos that I printed out that I end up not having space for in my codex, I will just put them in here. If I didn't use my date sticker, the ones that I made for my codex, I stick it in here. And yeah, it's just a very messy, scribbly journaling space, and I have really been enjoying keeping it. This isn't really a book that I will be flipping through in its entirety on this channel because a lot of this stuff in here is more personal. So it's not, you know, something that I would flip through and share on the internet, but I still wanted to talk about it because I've really been enjoying using this space. But yeah, that is pretty much everything that I have for today. How have your journals been going so far this summer? Have you made any changes? Are you already planning for next year? What are your plans if so? But yeah, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me for a bit, and I'll see you next time. Bye!